Japan. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Too long. But we're back.
We are back on
Just
the Break
like
Podcast.
I said we'd be back. Have you heard that?
No, where's that from?
Blink-182. We're back. Just like we said we'd be back. You can leave now or beat the traffic. Or you can stick around and beat your meat.
Oh, okay.
This is classic Blink-182.
Well, it looks like this episode just got demonetized in the first 30 seconds. Yeah, it's been quite some time. I've been kind of all over the place and busy going to Northern Ontario and the U.S., Dominican Republic, and we'll get into a lot of that fun stuff. You went away recently. I don't know if we mentioned that. You went to Mexico.
Oh, it was a few months ago. Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, we did talk about it. Yeah. It was good.
How's the cartel doing over there?
Oh man, so welcoming.
Yeah,
like they didn't want to let you go. You know, they're just like, stay with us. Stay with us.
Just hang a while. Just hang out a little while. But yeah, it's good to be back. It'll be a little bit short lived because I am going to Asia very very soon. And why don't you come with me?
I would go if I could. I'm dying to go back to Japan.
Yeah.
Number one place to go back to is Japan right now.
Yeah, so I'll tell you guys a little bit about what's going on very, very soon. But yeah, first things first, the world is still ending. It's been a long cumulative bunch of events that have been happening. But yeah, I guess we'll start at the beginning. I went to, what did I do first? So I went to Northern Ontario. I went to a little known place called Pickle Lake, which is weird because no one goes to Pickle Lake. And as soon as I got far enough in Northern Ontario and would tell people, yeah, I'm going up to Pickle Lake, and they're like, why? I'm like, I don't know, to be honest with you.
It's just the most northern part you can drive to. Is that what it is?
Yeah, well, not really. It's the most northern town in Ontario
that has cell service.
Surprisingly, yes. And it's decent actually. But it's like the most northern remote town that you can drive to that's connected to a highway. So technically there are roads that you can continue going north, but they're all just dirt roads. They turn into ice roads, if you will.
No, thank you.
Yeah, it's if you ever heard of like ice road truckers, stuff like that. That's what it's like out there.
Got it.
I met there's a lot of First Nations, indigenous people out that way. There's a fly-in reserve called Fort Hope. I spoke to a few people who actually kind of were traveling in and out of Fort Hope. I met this one family. They drove from there to what's that province? Manitoba? Yeah, Winnipeg. They went to Winnipeg, they watched a hockey game, and then they bought a truck, and then they were driving back.
That's all you're gonna do in Winnipeg, man, is watch hockey and buy a pickup truck and leave.
Pretty much, yeah. That was their whole thing. But yeah, it was fascinating because they're like, oh yeah, we live just up there in Fort Hope, and I'm like, okay, cool. So I searched it up on Google Maps after, and it's like no known roads. Awesome. There's no known way to get there, and I'm like, wow, wait, how? Right? And then the following day, I was sitting in the restaurant, which is in the hotel. It's called the Pickle Lake Hotel. The only I think there's two hotels. No, Pickle Lake Hotel, and then there's like some bed and breakfast thing. So I'm in their little restaurant, and I was talking to some other people that actually lived in the area. They've been there for like 20 years or something like that. And they're like, oh, we're going to move away from here. I'm like, oh, where are you going to go? They're like, oh, Thunder Bay. I'm like, oh, because as if that's any better. It's Thunder Bay, right? So anybody who knows from Canada, Thunder Bay is kind of notorious as a little bit of a ish hole. At least that's what most people have told me. I didn't really like experience anything. There's nothing interesting apart from Persian donuts. That's a thing apparently. That's apparently what Thunder Bay is known for. I don't remember what the name of the restaurant was, but
Easy Donuts?
No, I don't think that's what it was called.
Persian.
I have it in the vlog. It was like one of the last things that I did on the way back. I'm like, okay, I gotta try this Persian donut thing.
And
yeah, it was okay. Nothing really to go. It's like a very light, fluffy donut with like this pink frosting on top.
Restaurant name is the Persian Man.
That's it. Yeah. Yes, the Persian Man. Yeah, it was cool. It seemed like a thing because people were just walking in and they're just like, yeah, can I get a Persian? And I'm like, okay. It's just, I don't know, it just seemed really weird to me. But yeah, I heard some crazy stories from another local who used to live in Thunder Bay that they got the hell out of there because they were basically going down the street at one point, and she had her kid who was on his bike, and they're going close towards this bridge. And as he's going down, she's just like, holy crap, there's needles everywhere. And he's literally just about to ride right into it. She like ran over and grabbed him, as like literally picked him off of his bike, and then just walked out and just, fuck it, leave the bike. Who cares?
Yeah,
right?
scary.
So yeah, that's Thunder Bay for you.
A lot of drugs.
Yeah, but once you get like north of there, it's like, it's really, really nice. So, I mean, it's quiet, that's for sure. Yeah, you basically go like, I think, what, an hour and a half, 2 hours west of Thunder Bay, and then you just start heading north, and there's nothing. There's literally no cell service for about 2.5 to 3 hours.
Yikes.
So it started snowing. You're not sure if you're going to hit a moose or not. That it was getting dark. And then you get to, there's a little First Nations town or reserve or whatever right before you get to Pickle Lake. And I was hearing all sorts of crazy stories, and apparently it turns out to be false from what I hear, or maybe some weird rumors that were made up a while ago. And I hate when people do this, but they were telling me that apparently people from there like to lie down in the middle of the road to get you to stop your car, and then they ambush you, beat you up, and steal all your stuff. And then, yeah, as it turns out, that's probably not true, or maybe happened once somewhere a long time ago. And yeah, everybody was really friendly.
That's good.
But yeah, that was my Pickle Lake experience. Drove, 22 hours to get there. Filmed the whole area. There's not much out there. It's very, very simple living. It's cold, and the funny part is it wasn't that cold that particular week, but it felt a lot colder than it really was, just because of how bitter it was, and plus you're right on the lake, and yeah, it's brutal, and there's just constant snow during the winter. But people like to go up there and camp and do hunting during the summer and stuff like that. But the fly-in reserve, Fort Hope, that's what it is, a fly-in reserve. So
Can you fly from here?
I don't know. I imagine there'd probably be like connecting flights, because there's no way there would be a direct flight from here to Pickle Lake, because no one goes there, right? Except unless you're going to like work, or you happen to live there, which there's only less than 300 people that live in this small town. They have everything. There's like a mini grocery store. There's a gas station, which the gas is at the time was $2 a liter. So here it was like, what, $1.34 or something, $1.40 maybe a liter. And then I got up there, and their pumps are like those old school ones that they have to hit the switch, and then it goes. It starts like doing something. I guess it's like generator operated or whatever. But yeah, to go to Fort Hope, if you look it up, it's really not far, right? But the problem is that during the summer, spring, and fall, you can only fly in and out, because there's no connecting roads to it whatsoever. And there's a whole bunch of these up there. I never even knew any of that. And what I had found out while I was there is that people during the winter drive there, because the lake freezes over, the creeks freeze over.
So
they drive across the lake. Right. So we were talking with one guy. He's like, yeah, I was just there. The lake's really good. It's really frozen over. We had like 4 trucks all lined up, flying 120 across this lake, and everything's good. Right. So
I'm not doing that.
I'm actually thinking I might do it next winter, though. That would be one hell of an adventure,
cool.
Just to document that.
Yeah, but, you do that. I don't know, man. I don't see the appeal of driving on water. It's ice fishing.
Maybe,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You ever tried it?
Putting a vehicle? No. No, I haven't tried it. But putting a vehicle on ice? No, I ain't about it.
It's good. I think the standard is like once the ice is about 20 inches thick, like there's nothing is going through that.
I'm sure there's a way for them to test it. Yeah. But it's just the one freak accident that's like.
It does happen, though. Yeah. Especially
up my there. Hard drive in the car.
Like, forget the hard drive. The rest of you's in there too.
Right.
But yeah, it does happen. Sometimes you hear stories, or you don't notice that there's open water because like when the sun's shining or whatever, and you're just like driving across the lake, it's like mostly frozen. And this happens a lot with like snowmobilers. But a snowmobile, for the most part, can handle open water as long as there's not too much of it, right?
Because it'll glide for a little bit with momentum.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I've spoken to some other snowmobilers, and they're like, "Yeah, just if you hit open water, you just speed up at that point. You just gun it and hope that you don't sink, right?" But in a truck, you can't do that. As soon as you hit open water, just boop.
Yeah.
Oh no. That's not good. But yeah, it was a crazy experience. I got to go to Red Rock Inn. Honestly, like one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to.
Wow.
Yeah, look up Red Rock, Ontario. It's another very not well known place, small community right on the water. There's this really cool inn that I went to kind of on a whim. You remember Chris?
Yeah.
He was like, "Yeah, if you're going up that way, you got to go and check out this really cool, quaint looking hotel called Red Rock Inn." So I went there, and as soon as I come in, there's like loud music, and there was a band playing, and I walk in. I'm like, "Yeah, I booked a room on Expedia," and I think it was end of January. So they're all looking for this reservation. And they're like, "Yeah, we can't find your reservation, but don't worry about it. We'll take care of you. We got you," right? And then somebody realized, I don't know if it was me or them, they're like, "Oh, you actually booked this for a month from now." I'm like, no. My bad. They're like, "Yeah, just cancel on Expedia. It's fine." But yeah, it was really cool. One of the most comfortable beds I've ever slept on.
Really?
Yeah, it
looks like very like classic.
Very, very classic.
Yeah. Old is the word I was looking for.
Yeah, well, it's an old building. At one point, I think it was essentially abandoned.
Big.
It is big. Yeah, there's 3 floors.
I just found this picture. The coffee bar.
The coffee bar.
Yeah, there's a picture behind it written on a whiteboard. "Make your own damn cup of coffee bar."
Oh yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, they were super nice. They made me like breakfast every morning, and I'm like very simple. I usually don't even eat breakfast, so they're just like, "What would you like for breakfast?" I'm like, honestly, just a couple eggs is good. Like, you don't want this, you don't want that. I'm like, I don't eat carbs, so just a couple eggs. So she would just like fry up a couple eggs and cut an avocado, and off I go with the rest of my day. But yeah, that place was neat. It's just like really coolly decorated, just like you said, very, very classic, but like classy at the same time. And the owner of the place was super cool. It's like this old guy, Don. He's had a lot of businesses over the years, and he started like telling me, he's like one of those like cool, chill old guys that just like to tell you all their stories, right? So this guy, let me tell you about Don. So Don used to sell cars. He was apparently one of the very first people in the US to start sell. You know when you see the cars for sale in malls?
No.
Or like, well, I guess now they kind of do it like giveaways or raffles or whatever, right? Sure. But he was one of the first people to come up with the concept of selling vehicles inside of a mall. Right. That was his idea, and he made a lot of money doing it. Then from there, he went on to selling yachts. He was living in Florida at one point. So this guy was selling like yachts, and he was one of the best people to do it. He would sell like 20, 30 of these yachts in like a week or two or whatever it was. I could be exaggerating, but apparently he was really good at selling these damn yachts. Yeah. So one day, he gets a customer who comes in, and he wants to buy a yacht for cash. And I don't remember what the full story was, but he's like, "Oh, I can't," like he didn't really take the guy seriously. So I guess he brought the paperwork into like whoever, and they're like, "You seriously don't know who this person is?" He's like, "No, who is it?" He's like, "William Nelson." He's like, "Who's that?"
Willie Nelson?
Yeah, it was Willie Nelson. He was literally selling Willie Nelson a yacht for cash in Florida. Yo. So he's like, "Oh, I didn't even realize it was him." Yeah. So and then he was telling me something about Neil Young at one point rode through Red Rock in a hearse. And then I don't know why they were in a hearse, but I guess it was like part of his like whatever, they threw all their equipment in there and they were just riding through. So apparently the hearse broke down and they ended up getting on these motorcycles and then just kept on driving or whatever, right? So yeah, he's run into Neil Young and he's all sorts of like weird, crazy stories. Cool. So what I didn't know was I was kind of guessing. I'm like, this place is old enough. There's no way it's not haunted, right? So I'm like, let me go and do it. If it's not haunted, whatever, I'll just make a interesting explore video out of it, I guess. But I get there. At first, there was one guy who had been working there for like 10 years. And he's like, oh, I don't have any experiences. I've never had anything happen. And then all of a sudden there was this other lady and she's like, yeah, I've been here for a long time. I could tell you each room that's haunted and what goes on in them. I'm like, okay, please tell me. So,
yes, please.
Yeah. So I ended up getting to do that. And the third floor, there's like 2 rooms of floors. No, all 3 rooms actually, sorry, have floors. And then the top floor almost kind of looks like it's abandoned because it's just like unfinished.
Okay.
Super, super creepy. And that, as it turned out, to be one of the most haunted floors. And then as you get to know these people, you're learning these stories. And like, it was funny because the guy who was telling me, oh, this place is not haunted, I've never had anything happen. As it turns out, his wife and daughter have literally had an experience where a door slammed in between them, right? So I'm like, yeah, I think your place might be
something happened there, dude.
I think it might be subtly haunted. But yeah, there was something else I remember, but now I can't remember. Apart from that, I saw a dead wolf, almost encountered some moose, almost got hit by a train. Well, not really, but yeah, there was one part where so I pulled up to this one area because I was going to like this ghost town, and it's right on Lake Superior. And there was Pacific Rail workers sitting there. They're like, oh yeah, you can park over there. I wasn't even sure if I was like allowed to be there or whatever, right? But he's like, yeah, you could just like park your car over there. I'm like, oh, how do I get to the ghost town? It's down this way, right? He's like, oh, you want to go there? He's like, yeah, you just got to follow the tracks. I'm like, okay, well, he told me to follow the tracks. So if he's telling me I can walk on the tracks, I'm going to go, right? So he's like, yeah, just be careful because there's like 3 trains coming. But the problem is that you don't hear them until they're maybe 20 to 30 seconds away from you.
Oh, wow.
So what I did was I started walking up, and it's like this rock quarry. It's very, very narrow. And you're just walking along the tracks. And then once I got about like the third of the way, I just started running. I'm like, I'm not going to be caught right in the middle. There's nowhere to go.
Oh, okay.
Right? Unless you're really good at, like, you're Spider-Man or something. You can climb the rocks. So I just started running. And then not even like 25 seconds after I got out of there, a train came. And they came really fast. Yeah. So, and then on the way, so I kept going. I got to this ghost town. There's like a few buildings, whatever, not much left. I start going up this hill, and then I start seeing moose tracks. I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm just going to turn around at this point because I don't feel like running into these things.
Yeah.
Because a moose will literally end you if it really wanted to. There's actually a video. It's crazy. I don't think we could even show it on here because it's so gruesome. There was a guy, I think it might have been Northern Ontario. There was a guy, he decided he was going to go and pet a moose. I don't know if it was like as a joke or whatever. He thought he was being funny. This moose literally broke both his legs, his like pelvic bone and whatever. So yeah, at that point I decided to turn around, and coming back on the tracks, I don't know if it was there when I first walked past, but there was just a dead wolf on like a pile of rocks. Wow. I'm like, what the hell happened to you, bro? Yeah, that thing got messed up.
Sad.
Yep. But yeah.
How big was the wolf?
It wasn't that big. It was like I don't know, imagine like maybe like a husky.
Okay.
It looked like, yeah. It didn't seem that big, but then again, it was like kind of dead and just kind of like lying crumpled on some rocks. It scared the crap out of me because at first I saw it and I didn't like, it didn't process right away that it was dead.
Yeah.
Thankfully it was dead. Yeah. But yeah, that was interesting. First time I ever saw a wolf live in person on some train tracks.
Was not live.
No, definitely not. But yeah, that was that whole experience. Then I started making my way back, and I got to see the Terry Fox monument, which was pretty cool because that's where he finished his run. I don't know if you knew that, but he finished his run in Thunder Bay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I think like I did hear that.
Yeah, along the side of the highway. So they built like this really cool monument on the top of the hill that looks, what is it called? There's like an island, something, Sleeping Giant. It's called. Okay. There's an island and the lake where Thunder Bay is called Sleeping Giant because it's like, it looks like a giant lying on his back.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. There's some interesting stuff up there, but yeah, that was Northern Ontario. And then I came back for like a couple of days, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to the States for a little bit and film some more over there. I don't even remember what the hell I did there. I went with Chad quite a few times. We filmed this crazy Egyptian crime family's abandoned mansion with literally everything left behind. What else did we do? A couple of asylums. And I think we did Letchworth, and then me and Jazz did a couple other things as well. But yeah, it was a pretty eventful couple of trips. And then I went to the Dominican Republic, which is it's crazy.
Was it awesome?
It was. Dominican's a weird country. So if you like resorts, don't do normal things in Dominican Republic unless you want to experience what it's really like.
Okay.
So what I mean by that is, so you've been on the resort. What did you think? What was your experience like because we went together for
that was my first. Yeah. So that was my first time being at kind of like a vacation resort, and I thought it was cool. It was nice. Like the the staff would do whatever they could to like whatever, like make you happy, make you comfortable. So I remember the first time we got there, a guy climbed a palm tree in front of us to get us coconuts, fresh coconuts. So it was a good experience. Just the food sucked, but it was a good experience overall.
Yeah. Why didn't you like you don't eat pork.
I can't eat.
Yeah. So that's.
I wasn't eating anything that's not halal meat.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So yeah, anything would have been fruit, fries,
pasta,
rice. That's about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's the only thing if you have like certain dietary restrictions. But yeah, that resort too was kind of like, it was good. So I had been there once before. Was it the Punta Cana Princess? I think, right? Yeah, where they give you the little slippers with the princess logo on them or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a nice resort. It was quiet, very very small. The food was okay. I thought it was better the first time I had ever gone there than when we went back. It was like, it's okay. But yeah, it definitely downgraded after that. But yeah, I've been, I think 16 times, something like that. Dominican. Yeah. Most of the times on resorts. The first time was Santo Domingo. Most of the times after that were Punta Cana. And then there was one time where we went to Puerto Plata to this shitty little resort called Fun Royale.
Was it fun?
It was fun because we made it fun.
Got it.
But apart from that, the resort was like 3-star. I wouldn't even have given it a 3-star. It was old and falling apart. We went there for Christmas, and I just remember there was this funny thing that happened. So most of the food places, if you don't like eating outside, definitely don't go to Dominican, because most of the restaurants, including on the resorts, are like open air. So I remember we're sitting there, and when we had gone, it was me, mom, Stan, aunt, uncle, and cousins. I don't remember if my grandmother came, but it was Christmas. I think my grandmother did come. So anyways, we're sitting there, we're having dinner, and all of a sudden I feel something like hit me, like right here, or it fell on my head or something like that. And I just remember going like this, and my cousin was sitting across from me, Maurizio, and I realized what it was because I saw it. It was like this black beetle. It like fell on my head. I flicked it, and it hit Maurizio right in the forehead and fell right between his feet. And he just gets up. He's like, "Nope, I'm done," and he just walks out.
I'm out of here.
Yeah, I'm out of here. But yeah, the bug life out there is very interesting. There's a lot.
There was a lot of that. That's true. I did not remember that.
No.
Yeah.
Was it
that and like the little lizards?
Yeah, a lot of like the little geckos.
Yes.
And they don't have like iguanas or anything there, but spiders. The spiders there are pretty crazy. They have the huntsman spiders, so they're like, some of them can be pretty big. They can be like that. They have snakes. On this trip, actually, Mo and I, we were walking through his community, and he was looking for a stick, because he's like, oh yeah, sometimes the dogs out here, they like to roam around. And he had an experience once with like a stray dog in Dominican, and ever since then, anytime he would walk late at night, he's like, no, we need a stick, right? Just so you could like poke the dogs away or whatever. I'm like, whatever, man, the dogs here are pretty chill. But anyway, so we're walking down this road, and he's like, oh, there's a stick. So he starts walking towards it. He's like, that's not a fucking stick. It was a boa. We think it was a boa, right? Which is a common snake in the Dominican. They're not venomous, but they can choke the life out of you.
Ugh.
So he runs. At this point, he realizes it's a snake. He's like, oh, whatever. He's like, he pulls out his phone. He starts recording. So he grabs it by the end when all of a sudden it like poos on his hand, because that's like a defensive thing snakes do. And then it just kind of like slowly kept slithering away. It was pretty cool to see. You don't really see snakes like that out here in Canada. But
scary.
Yeah, the craziest things I want to say that I learned from this trip are the traffic.
Okay.
Especially pretty much anywhere. Generally, there are no rules when it comes to driving in the Dominican Republic. When I mean no rules, you've seen videos of India, right?
Yeah.
The way they drive in India, everybody's just going all different directions. There's nobody's obeying signs or lights or anything like that. Same thing. There are no rules. There's like 10,000 motorcycles. Everyone's honking. And then where we were near Sosua, which is not far from Puerto Plata, it was pretty chaotic, but it was like drivable for the most part. Same thing. There's like cars and everybody's just kind of going in whichever direction, but people are kind of like figuring it out. No one's really hitting each other, whatever. Not that it doesn't happen. It does happen. But then you get to Santo Domingo, which is the capital, and it is just absolute utter chaos.
Okay.
Like you have police officers navigating in the road and they're just like not navigating properly. Like they're sending like one row of cars to go when it's like you're waiting and you could have gone too, but it's like, dude, we've been sitting here for like 15, 20 minutes waiting to make a left turn. It's like, you just can't do it. And then at one point we're driving down one road. It was like 2 lanes on either side. Then all of a sudden all these cars started coming into the other lane, but like opposing us, right? We're like, what is going on right now? It's crazy. Documenting that was just
scary,
unreal. People are just like going over curbs, and they're like, when the like the median in between like highways and stuff, how a lot of times they'll like dip.
Yeah.
So people with motorcycles, it's like, oh, if they're going the wrong way or they got to turn around, they'll just go through down into the dip, back up with like 5 people on this one motorcycle. Like little kids, dude. You see like mamas like holding like 6-month-old babies, and they're just like on the back of the scooter or bike or whatever, and just no fucks given.
Holy.
It's crazy. It's a whole different world out there. And again, no rules. When it comes to like red lights, you'll like stop for a second, the guy behind you will start honking, so you just go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, unless you're an aggressive driver, then it's crazy. The one thing I did notice, taxes out there, sales taxes, 28%.
Yikes.
Yeah, so it's like you go to a restaurant and you order like a steak, and you think you're getting a good deal until you get the final bill, and it's like, oh, here's your lay, which is your regular tax, which is 10%, and then there was this other thing which was ITBIS, which was 18%. And at one point, Mo thought that lay was tip because somebody told him that's what it was. And I started looking it up. I'm like, I don't think lay is tip. So he thought he was automatically tipping 10% on every bill.
Oh.
And then we found out later that it's like, no, lay is the other tax. So it's in fact 28%. Which is crazy, man.
Are they paying
insane?
Are they paying income taxes and stuff as well?
I don't think so. I mean, most people don't really make a lot of money there, right? Standard would be like, based on what I know, if you're like a construction worker or whatever, you might make like, I don't know, 1,000, 1,500 pesos a day, which would be, I don't know, it's got to be like $20, $25 a day, maybe.
Oh, wow.
Maybe a little more than that, which is decent. I mean, you could actually get by on that. So it's yeah, if you just eat pork and rice and beans, then you're fine, right? Yeah. So yeah, I think like a standard living is probably like 25,000-30,000 pesos a month, give or take. But yeah, the traffic was crazy. Then there's the grifters.
Oh,
you have the window washers. I think Mo has a video. I should bring this up because it was crazy the way they do this out there. So basically, I think we've experienced it here too, but there is like an entirely different level of craziness. So basically, you pull up to this. They know this. That's a really busy intersection, so they know you're gonna have to stop. So you pull up to the red light. You're waiting to go, and these guys all of a sudden start washing your windows, right? They bring out the little sponge, and then you got the other guy who's got like a wiper, not even a squeegee, a wiper, like a wiper blade, an old wiper blade. Yeah. And so it doesn't matter if you tell them no, but there's a trick. You start turning on your own wiper blades. But what they did was they basically held our wipers hostage. So they were holding them. Yeah. And Mo's like at this point, like getting mad, right? He's like, no, I told you, leave. I don't want the fucking window washed. Like, what's wrong? I already told you no multiple times. Like, our window was perfectly clean. There was no need to clean the windows. No,
so he has his own car out there?
No, we had a rental.
Got it.
Yeah, we had our wonderful Kia Sportage, which was honestly a beast. How we didn't... Honestly, by the time we returned that thing must have had a little bit of damage here and there. Maybe in the undercarriage, maybe a few loose suspension parts. But yeah, dude. So at this point, he's yelling at them. Then he rolls down the window like this much. And he's like, I already told you, like, stop it, right? Like, what are you doing? Dude, the guy, like, comes in, I think it was a Haitian guy, so he comes in, like, through the crack of the window. He's like, I'm hungry! I'm hungry!
No, poor guy. Oh.
And it was really funny, because I look at him, and I'm like, yeah, he's hungry, too. He's been fasting. Because Aldo was fasting. Mo wasn't, because he had to drive. Yeah. But Aldo was fasting. And I'm like, yeah, he's fucking hungry, too. What the hell? Right? He hasn't eaten since last night. It was crazy. I'm gonna see if I can pull up this video because honestly, dude, it's just like it's really funny to see, and I haven't watched it yet either. Oh my god, dude! Like the rest of the week, we were just having a blast. Just every time we were like hungry, we'd be like, "Oh, I'm hungry." Let me see. Oh, I think it's this one. Haitian gang held us hostage and demanded money. I think it's right at the beginning, too. Hang on. Scene 2.
Jesus Christ.
He grabs your wiper blade.
Hey, amigo, put it down. I don't want it. No. I'm hungry. I don't have cash on me, bro. No cash. Good morning, guys. Welcome back.
Yeah, I think there was more to it, but there was at one point where he's literally like, I'm hungry. I'm like, geez, dude, relax. We're all hungry. Oh my god. But yeah, there are a lot of nice people out there. They're very like welcoming, very friendly for the most part. But you do end up encountering like the weird grifters like this. The people that will like fake disabilities just to try and get money. There are some that are legitimately doing it. Oh, there was one thing that I remember. This was fucking nuts. So we were up in the mountains. I don't even remember what we were doing that day. I think we might have been coming back from Santo Domingo. So you had to drive up the mountain and then back down. So we're up there driving along when all of a sudden there's a rope in front of the car.
Whoa.
Yeah. So there's this lady sitting on the side of the road, and she just goes, yoink!
Pulls it up, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then just to get you to stop. And Mo almost didn't even notice it at the last second. He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then this lady comes up, and she's like saying something about her child or whatever. And we're like, yeah. Put the rope down, and we just drove off.
Yeah.
Like, dude, imagine like this woman, like somebody doesn't notice that she's doing that. Right. Like you're going to get yoinked like off the mountain at this point. Like, what are you doing? And this is the second time he's encountered it because the same thing happened to him with him and Shadia before we ever even got there. So yeah, some of these people are nuts. There was like another guy at like this ice cream place. He had like a one of those arm sling things on, and he's like, I don't know, he's like grunting and groaning weird things, and we're like, yeah, whatever. I don't know. We kind of like maybe assumed that he was kind of like faking it.
Yeah.
And then there was one like girl who was legitimately like handicapped in a wheelchair, and her dad was like pushing her down the road, and so we gave them a few bucks, whatever. Try and give as much as you can, but the I'm hungry guy was just annoying. Oh, you know how we got rid of the I'm hungry guy? No. We gave him a pack of dates.
Oh, that's nice.
So Mo had like a pack of dates that he left for some reason on the dashboard.
Yeah.
And at this point, they were so like hot, and they were like starting to melt. He's like, I don't got any money. Here, you want these dates? And they're like, oh. And he just took it and left.
Zoom.
Yeah. The other thing that's wild to see, the ladies of the night.
Oh no.
Yeah, I have this documented. So you go downtown Sosua, and dude, they're everywhere, and they have no rules.
Okay.
They will walk up to you, grab a man by the area,
Oh no.
and try and get some money out of you for select services. We drove through one night and they were just like everywhere. They were like eyeing you, and Mo's just like, don't make eye contact. Don't make eye contact. I'm like, okay. I'm like filming everything, whatever. There's like cops down there. So apparently, prostitution used to be legal in the Dominican, but at some point became illegal, but that clearly doesn't stop them from doing it. And you can clearly tell which ones are the ladies of the night and which ones are not the ladies of the night.
Oh no.
Just based on how they dress and how they just kind of are looking at everybody and like observing, because they're constantly like on the prowl.
So
right,
what would they be if they're not ladies of the night?
dressed normally.
No, but what are they doing out there?
It's what do you mean?
You said they're not ladies of the night. They're not prostitutes. So what are they doing out there?
The normal ones are just off minding their own business. Like you can
Okay.
just clearly tell that they're just like walking down the road. Their head's not really on a swivel.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah.
The ladies of the night, you can tell are
They're
constantly
looking. Yeah,
they're
they're
looking
hunting.
at.
They're
Yeah,
hunting,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So that you can clearly tell that they're trying to make eye contact with you. And from what we heard, the way that they do it is they get your number, and then later on, this is not based on personal experience. It's just from other people's
I'm not
experiences.
still answering the text messages.
Yeah, exactly. So they take your phone number, and then later on that evening, they will send you pictures. And if you like what you see, then you hire them for services, and they all have pimps. And apparently, the pimps take most of the money, like 90%, and they give you like a few bucks. So it's like, dude, is that line of work even worth it over there?
Right.
Like that's crazy. But yeah, it's just wild because it's like all congested in this one particular area. There's a couple of like bars. Everybody's kind of like hanging out, drinking. There's like cops around. It's like the cops can't really do anything until they actually witness something going down. But yeah, it's wild though. And then we got the whole Haitian debacle. Have you been keeping up? Not at all?
No, I don't know.
No idea what's going on there. So
No, we talked about it for a second, but no, I don't remember now.
yeah, so apparently Haiti is currently in a civil war, if you will, in a sort of crisis where these gangs are essentially, they've already taken over. The capital has basically fallen. The prime minister, president, whatever he was, he left. He went to Puerto Rico, and then they shut down all the airports, and he could not fly back, so he had to step down.
Wow.
Apparently now, a lot of the other Caribbean countries are trying to help them form another government. El Salvador is offering to send in their own military officers to kind of fix the place. And then now I'm hearing might be U.S. intervention, because that's the last thing we need, right?
Yeah.
More U.S. interventions, of course. But yeah, it's crazy, dude. There was a video that surfaced of one of these gang leaders. Apparently he goes by the name Barbecue.
Okay.
And the reason why he goes by the name Barbecue is because he barbecues human beings and then eats them.
Oh no.
Yeah. So there was a video that surfaced, and it was pretty shocking, where he was literally eating human flesh. Pretty gnarly. And yeah. So apparently the video was actually 2 years old. Not that it makes it any less crazy, but
Yeah.
for shock value, it just resurfaced recently, and everybody's like, what the hell? So he has like literally somebody's leg, like this body is in flames, and he like takes a bite out of this dude's leg.
Man.
Like it was messed up. Now from what I know, because being in the Dominican, you tend to encounter some Haitian people. And we had one of our friends, his name was Alex. He was kind of doing some work for us, but also he was our friend, and we actually brought him to Santo Domingo as well with us. And he's from Haiti, and he was, let's say, not so legally in the Dominican Republic. Okay. But we helped him raise enough money to get, well, Mo did most of the work and helped him raise up some money to get his papers, whatever. That's nice. And obviously we were paying him for services that he was doing for us, which was essentially being our translator / security when we would go to certain locations. But yeah, so he was kind of explaining, and this is why I don't trust the media entirely, especially with a situation like this, because they're always looking for that shock value, shock entertainment sort of thing.
Yeah.
And obviously for clicks. And he was kind of explaining, he's like, yeah, that's mostly the capital that's having these situations, which I feel like the media is leaving out a lot of the time, because apparently where he's from in the north, everything's perfectly fine. There's like literally nothing going on. It's just chill. It's poor. Like they have problems economically, obviously. But like when the media reports it, they make it sound like this whole half of an island is just in utter chaos, when literally it's just for the most part happening in the capital. Yeah. The other thing that he was kind of like explaining is that, for example, this cannibal leader guy who was eating this other person, apparently the reason why he did it was because the other guy was stealing the gang's motorcycles or something like that. So it was kind of like a fuck around and find out moment, right? Not that it takes anything away from being a cannibal and literally eating human beings as punishment, but like I feel like part of the story was left out, because it's like, oh, well, they're not just running around eating everybody. He literally did it to this one person because he stole the gang's motorcycles, right? So obviously he had a reason. I guess to him it was legitimate. I don't know, that's kind of crazy if you ask me, but yeah, I just feel like there's a bunch of parts of the story that are being left out. And the other part is like, my dad texted me earlier. He's like, oh, imagine if we just gave them $2 billion, how beautiful that place would be, just like the Dominican Republic, which is literally the other 2/3 of the island, right? And I'm like, yeah, except for when the Clintons steal it all, right? Because apparently that's what happened. I don't know if you ever heard about that, but no. After the earthquake, which I believe was 2010, if I'm not mistaken, remember the Haiti earthquake, right? They made like a song about it and raised a bunch of money. So I heard that 90-something% of the funds that were actually fundraised and given to the Clinton Foundation disappeared. Yeah. So what happened to it? Did the Clintons just take it and use it for Hillary's campaign?
Hillary.
Right? I mean, sorry,
Dang.
Hillary. Did I say Hillary?
That was good.
I meant Hillary. But yeah, it's dude, it's a disaster over there, man. It's a mess. I mean, the country's already poor enough. They've been years of exploitation. Remember when we had Chris on here, Chris Must List. If you haven't seen that episode, go and watch that, or even just go and watch the videos for yourself on his channel, where he was telling us that he was witnessing the children eating mud cookies. Yeah. Exactly as I'm saying it. Mud cookies. That's right. Not real cookies. Cookies of mud. Right? Yeah. Like that's messed up. So
very sad.
Yeah, the question is why? Like why are these politicians and other countries going in and exploiting a nation like Haiti, when in reality Haiti doesn't really have an economy? Like it doesn't function like a normal economy. They're not building anything. There's no real natural resources. I heard there was like some type of metal, but apparently this metal is not even all that rare. So it's like, why? Okay. Right? Like what are they exploiting them? What are they exploiting them for? Right? So is it trafficking? Is that a thing?
Oh God.
I don't know.
I hope not.
I heard stories years ago that when the whole earthquake thing happened, I believe it, I don't want to misspeak, but I believe what I heard was UN soldiers or UN politicians or something along those lines got caught for, we'll say, sexually exploiting minors.
Of course.
Yeah, it was pretty messed up, but Yeah, Haiti is in quite the predicament right now. I hope things do get better. The news is not sounding good. It sounds like it's getting worse and worse. And I'm not trying to take away from what's happening there. I'm just saying based on what I heard, that it's not, in most areas apart from the capital, it's not as bad as the media is proclaiming it to be.
Right.
I don't know if they're purposely leaving that out or just not explaining it very well. But there are a lot of people. I mean, it's been happening for years that people are constantly fleeing, just like our friend Alex, who explained that he got deported several times, thrown in Dominican jail, which is not a fun place. They don't give you food or water or anything like that.
Wow.
That every time he had to go back to Haiti and he wanted to return to Dominican, obviously not legally, he would have to walk for 3 days, basically through jungle. A lot of the times there are, what's the term for it? People waiting for you as you're doing the hike into Dominican to rob you or mug you, which literally makes no sense because you're robbing a poor person that has nothing to begin with. Like, what are you taking? A couple of snacks and some water? Right? Like, these people have nothing. That there's a reason why they're hiking for 3 days to get to the Dominican Republic, but
there are also people that have nothing, so they're doing whatever they can.
I guess so. They're like bandits. I guess that would be the word. They're like bandits that are, I don't know. It's crazy though. I don't know what else is going on there. I guess we'll just have to wait for some updates, but yeah, I met a lot of like Haitian people along the way too. A lot of encounters. We met this like 13-year-old kid, Richard, who tried to hustle us for like 1,500 pesos to take us to a waterfall. So we gave him 300 and he took it. And then he literally hiked the entire way there, went in, swam with us, waited until we were all ready to leave, and then we all hiked back together.
Wow.
So it was a pretty cool experience. The kid could not speak a word of English, but we had Alex with us who could speak both Spanish and Creole.
Nice.
So he was able to translate back and forth. At first, the kid was like miserable, I guess, because he didn't get what he wanted.
Yeah.
But we were all kind of having so much fun that eventually he kind of like warmed up and he was like all whatever, like singing and like talking to us more and hanging out, and couldn't speak much English except for "let's go." But yeah, it was that was a cool experience. Did I show you the picture of the water? You probably saw pictures of it.
I don't know.
I have to show you. It's freaking cool. Like it was.
Did you post on Instagram?
There's a whole video on my channel somewhere here. Let me bring it up. This you have to see. I gotta show you this. The anticipation. There was a part where I had like these really cool drone shots.
So pretty.
No, that's just in the GoPro footage. There it is. It's right about here. No, I don't want to.
You should become a member of that channel.
Of my own channel. Shady here, so. Oh, there we go. This is the waterfall. This is a waterfall that is cool, man. It was just doing that alone was a really cool experience. Experiencing the I'm hungry guy. Then we did Brazilian. You remember Brazilian, right?
The Brazilian Steakhouse?
Yeah. So we never filmed any of this. I kind of wish that we did. So we went to, we did Brazilian 3 times. So the first one was near it was in Playa Dorada, which was like an area where there's a bunch of resorts. And one place that we decided to go to was actually on a resort. It was actually part of the resort. So we go into this resort, they make us pay like 1,400, 1,500 pesos each. We're like, wow, that's actually pretty cheap. That's like 30, 35 bucks or whatever per person for unlimited meat. Sounds great. We get there, they only have 3 cuts of meat. So the other 2, obviously being Muslim, couldn't eat any of the pork.
Yeah.
So now they were down to chicken and beef. There was only chicken wings, and then I can't remember what the other thing was called. It was just some like crappy cut of beef or whatever. So that's literally all they were serving. And it was funny because they would come around with like sausages. They were hot dogs.
Okay.
They were literal like they tasted like a hot dog. I'm like, what is this? You guys are serving crap. So we had like a couple bites each, and the guys were like, this sucks. Let's get the hell out of here. And it was horrible. Like the meat was super dry. Definitely not worth it. So we ended up leaving. there was another Brazilian place in the area. So we go to that place. So we get there, they give us the menu, and the place was calling itself a rodizio as well, which usually implies that it's unlimited. They're supposed to come around with the skewers, whatever, shave off the meats. You remember, we did it in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So we get there, we're looking at this menu, and 3 or 4 times we asked the lady, unlimited, right? Unlimited. C, man. C. Yeah. And she keeps saying C. They bring over the manager. She says C too. So we order our food, whatever, pick the meats, and they bring over the platter. We finish the platter. We're like, oh, there's more, right? No. Limitado, which is limited. We're like, but you said unlimitado like several times, or at least that's how they made it sound. Yeah. Unlimitado. They're like, no, senor. The real rodizio starts next Friday. And now at this point, Aldo's like, damn it, I'm leaving on Thursday. So yeah, that kind of sucked. And then we ended up doing.
What you ate it was good though?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. Not like incredible. Like I've had way better Brazilian. Yeah. I've been to like the Brazilian Gacho al Gapo in both Charleston, South Carolina, and Las Vegas. Both incredible, amazing. Here subpar, but I mean it's like, developing third world country. Like you can only get so good, right? Then we tried to do rodizio again in Santo Domingo, and at first it was good. They were bringing us, some good amounts of meat. Then all of a sudden the service started slowing down. Mm-hmm. We're like sitting there waiting. They'd come with like 3 little itty bitty pieces of meat each. Yeah. And what did they want? There's like a certain cut of meat. For some reason I'm blanking out on it, but there's like a certain cut of meat that's very popular in Brazil. Okay. And we kept asking for it over and over and over again. It took like half an hour for them to bring us like another like little bit of meat each. And then eventually we all just gave up and we're just like, okay, well, we can clearly see what you're trying to do here. Yeah. You're trying to just basically force us out. Yeah. So yeah, we were kind of disappointed, but power of Google reviews, right? So I don't think too many people are going to be going back to that place. Nice. But yeah, there's so many crazy stories, all the encounters we had and all these things. But yeah, I think we're going to move on to the next segment, which will be the next video. Okay. And it'll be probably a little bit different from this one. So we'll see you there.